Go. Hello, everybody.
Hello, we're Cesar and Pam with cesarandpam.com.
And you can grow your business without losing your soul, your family, or your health in the process. Thank you for logging in. If this is your first time, Pam and I have been married for 30 years. We have 6 kids. And 7 years ago, we started a business, a home-based business. And when we started a home-based business, one of the biggest concerns is that we were so busy. We were doing so many things. We were very involved in our church back then and doing a lot of things with all of our kids. And we just felt like we couldn't do one more thing. And then as we enter the industry of network marketing, many of the people that follow us in our Spanish-speaking community, which is where we started, they're in the network marketing, direct selling industry. Now we're starting our channel in English as well. But as we started seeing leaders that were constantly saying, you have to give it all. You have to just sacrifice your life, basically. I ended up seeing that many people lost what was most important to them, that it was a contradiction. What John Maxwell says that you shouldn't do ended up happening to many of them. John Maxwell says, be careful climbing the ladder of success just to find out that when you get to the very top, your ladder is leaning against the wrong wall. And many times we get into our business, we want to grow our business, rank up in the companies because we want to have success and have freedom. But what shall it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? What shall it profit a man to get to the top rank of his company, make all this money, make millions, and lose his family, lose his health, be completely irresponsible with his finances, and most importantly, lose his soul in the process? So there are different dimensions that we share with you week to week, week on week, week on, week off. I don't know how do you say
week to week.
Week to week, thank you. And we talk about, number 1, your relationship with God. Number 2, your personal relationships, your marriage, your parenting. And then number 3, your health, which is what we're going to be talking about today. Number 4, your finances. So you don't become successful by abandoning everything else, by being a good steward of the resources that God has given you. So today we're going to talk about, are you toxic? Are you toxic?
Don't get depressed.
Okay. Well, first we got to get you a little depressed, and then we're going to give you a solution. This is going to be a part number 1. We're going to finish it next week. But, honey, what happens on Friday morning, every Friday at our house?
Every Friday morning, the garbage truck comes by to pick up the garbage. And Thursday night, my boys are supposed to reminded by their father, to take the trash out to the curb. So what happens Friday morning, if they forgot, is I'm usually the one that hears the trash truck coming and goes bolting out the door and trying to get the trash to the curb on time. I've actually gotten to know the driver. He thinks I'm a little crazy, but he's helped me out a couple times.
So what would happen what happens when we forget to take out the trash?
Yeah, well,
sometimes?
That's happened too, where none of us remember, even at the last minute or too late. And then you have last week's trash and this week's trash all building up together. And in the summer, when we're in Texas, where it's over 100 degrees, it can be pretty stinky.
And unfortunately, we live in a country that doesn't really recycle. I mean, we have our recycling bin and a trash bin, but really is not true recycling.
We try.
Honey, but it's not, come on, it doesn't work. If you go to Europe, that's where they really make you recycle, right? Like you have to wash the containers. It's like one container is just for plastic that you can actually recycle. Another one's for glass.
The containers.
Yeah, but unfortunately, that one bin, people don't do that. They throw the egg carton in there with egg stuff still on there. Anyway, my point is, unfortunately, our trash is not a trash that is clean. It's a trash that is just, it's a mess, right? Yeah. We'll talk about that on a different subject. But what would happen if we said, man, we missed out the trash, and you keep forgetting, and you just let's put it in the office, right?
Your office.
A couple of days into it, you'll be like, I ain't going into that office. If you go in there like this, do what you have to do, take your stuff and get out. But after 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I mean, the stench will be terrible. You'll have rats, microbes, bacteria, cockroaches, all kinds of disease. And what if you start saying, okay, just don't go into that room? No, it's not the answer. It will come a time when the whole house will be infected, and the only way to clean it will be to burn it up. That's what happens to our system. if we don't cleanse our system. And you may be toxic to the point of getting sick so often. And maybe that's one of the reasons why. We talked about it during the episode when we talked about what you eat. And this is going to be a little related, but not completely related because there are different elements. One element is the outside environment. When you go outside of your house, there are different reasons why you may be toxic. You come in contact with toxins. Number two, within your same house. And then number three, the food that you eat. And I think we're only going to be able to cover the first one about the air.
So, it reminds me, Cesar, when we went to a chiropractor that described like that we have like a bucket. You can imagine a bucket inside of you that is filling with toxins. And you think you're fine. You think you're fine, but all of a sudden there's a tipping point. And we tend to just look at, well, what was the reason I got sick? And what was that one thing? And he said there's usually not one thing. It's that you reach that tipping point where your body couldn't deal with all the stuff.
Exactly. We've seen that today with the COVID. Many people just blame the one thing, but it's actually a combination of factors. So there are about 80,000 chemicals registered for use in the United States, and we add about 2,000 more every year. These chemicals are used in food, prescription drugs, supplements, household products, personal products, and lawn care products. Wow. From the moment of conception, a child is exposed to a plethora of toxins in his environment. There is a study here from the world into which is born. In a report by the Environmental Working Group, the American Red Cross took umbilical cord blood samples of 10 babies and tested them for contaminants. The tests showed that they had an average of 287 contaminants, including methyl mercury, fire retardants, and pesticides, including DDT and chlorine. We're going to talk about them on the next episode. Of these chemicals, 180 of them are carcinogenic in humans. Wow. And some of the air we breathe is toxic. More than 80,000 metric tons of carcinogens are released into the air annually in North America. But we can clean our inside. I'm going to read it up. Okay, so the air. Also the water. A lot of our water is polluted with more than 2,100 chemicals in most municipal water supplies. However, we can learn to choose clean, pure water. And much of the food supply, as we mentioned, is also contaminated. See, the problem with the food supply, I was listening to an interview by a guy who's a food expert, and he was talking about how when people started businesses in the food industry years ago, they started going into that industry because they have a heart to feed, to nourish, to bring health to the individual and to their family.